watching Swipe. Coming up, it's lunch, Jim, but not as we know it. We look at the future of kitchen tech. Stolen celebrity photos, how the Jennifer Lawrence hackers have made us all think about privacy. Stand Up, Be Counted, the new website for 16 to 25-year-olds. And there's murder and a dance floor in our games review. Hello and welcome to Swipe. Now, if you're wondering why I'm currently surrounded by chefs, it's all about to become clear. Because this week, we decided to take a look at kitchen tech. With so many manufacturers and designers competing to be the most innovative, it got us wondering, what kinds of things will we find in kitchens of the future?
Duncan's Kitchen is a haven for gadget lovers. Whether you want to froth, brew, juice or pulverise, he's got it all.
This bad boy is a vacuum packer.
And he's not alone in his passion for culinary tech. Apparently, UK kitchens have an average of 7 gadgets each.
Do you use this with your sandwiches for work?
I use this all the time.
Oh, what was that?
Technology may not always make life easier, but that doesn't bother Duncan.
That's part of the whole, like, again, kind of machismo in the kitchen, sort of Iron Chef kind of thing, you know. Not only are you chopping things up with, like, big sharp knives, but you get to handle big, you know, pieces of equipment.
He's got a lot to look forward to. Manufacturers are eagerly competing to come up with ways of transforming our kitchens. In years to come, we could be using interactive cooktops like this one. You can prepare meals and surf the web at the same time. And we won't just be using our appliances in the future, we'll be exchanging messages with them too. Services like LG's Home Chat mean your fridge, for example, can tell you how many bottles of beer are left inside. And with hologram technology, you could cook and eat with family members while they are on the other side of the world, or take a lesson from a holographic chef.
There really just needs to be the consumer demand for it. So in the future, I expect there'll be a lot of settings where we'll see the dining table look very different to how it looks now. You might be able to beam grandma in from somewhere very far away, and she can be a real part of your eating experience.
But with designers so keen to be innovative, could we, ironically, end up taking a step backwards?
But what really disturbs me about technology and food now is people have become so far removed from actually just cooking their dinner. Everyone thinks now that it's super complicated to cook at home, when in actual fact, all any cook needs is a really good knife, a chopping board and a saucepan. That's all any cook needs. Holographic chefs, I think, is a nightmare.
For Duncan, though, futuristic developments in the kitchen can't come quickly enough.
And I guess if you're really into technology and you're really into time saving, it's almost like you're not going to be quite satisfied until you've got the point where the food is being, like in Star Trek, kind of beamed into your fridge, and then a robot prepares it, serves it to you whilst you sit on your sofa all day.
It's going to make
watching Sky News.
Your vacuum packing an onion look obsolete, isn't it?
Well, I know, hard to believe, but one day people will laugh at the idea of vacuum packing an onion.
No, surely not, Duncan.
Well, the kitchen I'm standing in right now is no ordinary kitchen. We're at Farahs at Claridge's in London, where they use some of the most state-of-the-art kitchen appliances in the country, and I'm joined now by chef patron Simon Rogan and executive chef Dan Cox. Thanks for joining me, guys. With such advanced technology, does any of it make your lives easier, or does it actually complicate things from time to time?
Well, obviously, you know, for any chef worth his salt to create, you know, all his latest creations need some top class equipment, some the latest equipment. But coupled with this, we've got a very advanced kitchen, very advanced extraction system, and the latest induction technology. So it's a very cool and very nice kitchen to work in. So yeah, it's got to be a good thing. Got to be a good thing.
I can see it's a great environment, but I'm really distracted by what Dan's using over here. What is that?
It's a rotary evaporator. Today we're using it to distill our peat wine, or the base for our peat wine. We take Vestal vodka and infuse it with pea shoots for 24 hours. Then we put it onto the rotary evaporator, and we've got dark green liquid here. Then we distill it under pressure at a very low temperature, and we bring it over so it boils up into this condensing flask, back down to the evaporation flask as a clear spirit, which gives us pea flavoured vodka essentially. And we then use that to make our pea wine cocktail that we serve here at Farahs.
Oh, fantastic. Can I try some
Yeah,
of
of course.
that? I should really check it out, shouldn't I?
because it's done at such low temperatures, you know, the boils at 50 degrees, so there's no loss of nutrients or flavour, so everything's locked in there.
It's really, really nice. But I can imagine though, you have to train all of your staff to use this. I mean, does that take a lot of time? Does that complicate things?
It's easier to use than you think. Obviously, we go through the odd flask because they're very, very delicate, so you can't be too heavy with it.
Are they pricey to replace as well if you break?
Yeah, they're expensive, so that's a downside of technology. There's always expenses to replace if it goes wrong, but we couldn't do without it. You know, it's an essential tool for our job.
But are there some dishes that you much prefer to cook in the traditional way, to stick with an old-fashioned process?
Yeah, I mean, meat and fish, we tend not to use water baths so much anymore. We tend to stick to traditional methods of pan roasting or, you know, using an oven.
Do you see that ever changing though? Could you be tempted by a gadget to pan roast perfectly?
I think there was a water bath craze and food became much of a sameness, but I think it's coming back to full circle again. And I think the traditional methods are coming to the fore. I mean, we've got barbecues here. There's nothing better than cooking over fire. It's an instinct that we've had since the dawn of time. So, you know, sometimes the oldest technique's always the best.
Fantastic. It's been really interesting talking to you both. Thanks for having us.
Pleasure.
In other news this week, Jennifer Lawrence hit the headlines after some naked photos of her were stolen and circulated online. And what does that mean for our own online privacy? Stuart Duggan's been finding out.
You can't have missed the story of Jennifer Lawrence's leaked naked photos over the last few days unless you've been somewhere without access to the internet. And speaking of connectivity, that is exactly what has caused this problem for one of Hollywood's top stars and more than 100 other celebrity targets. The FBI is investigating the leak, with the photos reportedly stolen from Apple's iCloud service. Some of the celebrity targets say the photos are fakes. Actress Mary Winstead says the pictures of her are real, but that she deleted them long ago. Of course, there's no doubt that the celebrities who were targeted in this hack have been wronged and their privacy has been invaded. But there is a certain naivety most of us have when it comes to these devices. They're our phones, our tablets, our computers. But we forget that they're also our gateway to the digital world. And with that comes the good and the bad. Should we still be using the cloud to store our material though? And how can we keep our data safe? Here are some top tips and insights from cloud technology specialist James Sinclair.
Having a replication of your data is more valuable than not. And so the concept of going back to the Stone Ages and not saving anything online actually doesn't serve your purpose in terms of efficiency. Steps just have to be taken. Change your password from Gemma11. That's probably the biggest thing. What do we do today, right now, to protect ourselves? Number one is we recognize that everything digital goes somewhere. And that's just the end of the conversation. So knowing that, you have to take good steps, which is don't use the same username and passwords on every website. Again, keep them cryptic. Use two-factor authentication if you can. You know, it's very difficult to work out where your data is and where your files are and what you're doing with it. And you don't really get this audit trail of where your photo is going through the cloud or through the web or through the interwebs. Once it's out there in the ether, it just is.
You're watching Swipe. Coming up, is it a phone? Is it a wallet? It could be both. The latest iPhone 6 rumours. But first, Sky News has launched a new digital project aimed at giving a voice to 16 to 25-year-olds. It's called Stand Up, Be Counted, and Tom Platt has more.
A lot of 18 to 24-year-olds just aren't voting. At the last election, only 44% of our age group did. That means more than half of us aren't influencing who gets into power. So we've launched Stand Up, Be Counted, a new site for young people to engage with current affairs, powered by Sky News. It's easy to use. You register via the upload button at the top of your screen. All you'll need is a profile picture and a few lines about yourself. After that, you can upload a short clip of you talking on camera about something you're passionate about, the economy, education, whatever it is. Or you can upload a picture or a blog post you feel tells your story. You can talk about one of our hot topics of the week and engage in debates on things like youth unemployment or education. Or you can use our open mic page to let rip about something else that matters to you, whether it's bus passes or nuclear energy. One click on the site takes you straight to the page where you can register to vote, something that, if all of us decided to register, could really transform the political landscape in the country. And the platform is available on your mobile, making it that bit easier to get your voice heard. Plus, you can share the content you've made from the site on loads of different platforms, meaning you can share your message with your friends.
You're watching Swipe, coming up.
If you spot a vulnerability in Twitter's security systems, the social network will now pay you a bug bounty. Twitter says it'll hand out at least £85 for every new bug reported, and it hasn't set a maximum on how much it'll pay. But you've got to be the first person to report the vulnerability to be eligible for the money. You might want to be careful how much time you spend on social media, though, after researchers in Rome found it may be making us miserable. They say networks like Facebook increase the risk of being exposed to offensive behaviours and hate speech. It's that kind of content that can apparently reduce our trust in others, leading to a detrimental effect on well-being. If Apple has its way, your phone could soon become your wallet too. The latest iPhone 6 rumours claim Apple has struck a deal with Visa, MasterCard and American Express. Apparently, a special chip will allow owners to use their phones in a similar way to a contactless payment card. The new handset is expected to be revealed on September the 9th. Samsung launched 2 smartphones, a smartwatch and a virtual reality headset at the IFA Consumer Electronics Fair in Berlin this week. The Note 4, the Note Edge, the Gear S and the Gear VR. The headset was developed with Oculus VR, the virtual reality firm now owned by Facebook. And the Note Edge comes with a screen that wraps around the handset. Also at IFA, Motorola announced its first smartwatch. The Moto 360 will go on sale in the UK in October, competing with rival models from LG and Samsung. With so much going on at IFA, we asked Dan Grabham to give us a breakdown of the best bits according to him.
So here's my top 5 things from IFA 2014. Number 5, the Samsung Gear VR headset. It's a very cool sort of virtual reality headset that you put the Note 4 smartphone into the front of, and it projects the image onto your field of vision. At number 4, the Asus ZenWatch. It's pretty cool. It's a smartwatch powered by Android Gear. Smartwatches are all the craze, and hopefully we'll see an Apple smartwatch next week. At number 3, I'll go for the Sony Xperia Z3 smartphone. Very cool smartphone. It is dust and water resistant and has a 20 megapixel camera, so very impressive. At number 2, I'll go for LG's 4K OLED TVs. Brilliant colours and excellent brightness, and they just look terrific. And then number 1, I'll go for Samsung's Galaxy Edge. It's a smartphone with a curved edge to the screen that you actually can control different functions on, and you can have rolling ticker updates, say tweets or stock updates.
Now, we like to think Swipe has something for everyone, especially in our games review. This week, we've got Sims, we've got bizarre morality tales, we've got dancing, and we've got wars in space. Here's Lucy James from GameSpot.
Dance Central's been going for a while now. It is a rhythm exercise game where you use the Xbox 360's camera, which is called the Kinect, and you follow on-screen prompts and you dance along, basically. Dance Central Spotlight is an exclusive to Xbox One, so it's using Microsoft's new Kinect 2.0, so it's going to have better motion tracking than before, because I know I've played Dance Central and I've called out the Kinect for not, mapping my body correctly. Kinect 2.0 is a lot better at that. Dance Central's great, to get out at parties and just sort of flail around with your friends and stuff, and that's really what Dance Central Spotlight is. Danganronpa is a Japanese franchise, as you can tell by the name. So this is a sequel to a game that came out on the PSP. So this game actually itself came out on the PSP a few years ago now. And now here in the West, we're getting it on the PlayStation Vita. So it's quite an interesting, quite bizarre Japanese-style story. So you play as an amnesic student. You're top of your class. So you and these other skilled students go to this, tropical island called Jabberwock, and you're there with your principal, and then he says, well, you're all stuck here forever unless you can kill one of your classmates and get away with it. So that's kind of the basic premise, and I'm not going to go too far in because it gets even wackier. There's other stuff going on. It's bizarrely intriguing and really quite fun.
Things are starting to get exciting!
So The Sims 4 is the latest game in the series. The big changes they made is they're kind of making the Sims, putting more into their personalities, making each Sim more unique. So you can affect the way they walk now, create a Sim, there'd be a bunch of presets, but now it's you kind of click on their face and drag, and you can make them sort of even more unique and give them all these personality traits. So it's kind of fun, but the thing is that with The Sims is the first one, there's always expansion packs that add more items and stuff. So this is the base game, and it means it's not got a lot in, but what it does have is this big online community that EA are really pushing, which is the publisher, which means so you can create a celebrity in Create a Sim. You can make like Beyonce or someone and upload it, and then someone can immediately download that and put that into their game. So they're kind of building up that community aspect, so people can make their own stuff and share it online very easily. There's no kind of big wacky adventures that your Sims can go on just yet, but the game's coming out and they're promising there's going to be a ton of content coming, but you just have to kind of wait for it first. Warframe is the first free-to-play game to come through Microsoft's ID at Xbox program, which means they're kind of giving help to smaller developers. And so the game is completely free-to-play, but inside the game, and this is how the developers make money, is there's a store, so you can buy new weapons and abilities, things like that, and you can pay for that using either money you've earned by completing missions and things, or you can spend real-world money and get more expensive items without having to play the game for hours and hours and hours just to earn the money. It's a free game, so you haven't really got much to lose, and if you like online playing, and it's third person, so it's kind of different, because normally you'd get like a first-person game, and it's all, quite generic and stuff. But this is third person, and there's a bit of parkour elements in, it's quite cool, and it's set in space, so, everyone loves a good third-person space game.
Thanks, Lucy. Well, that's it for this week. Don't forget you can stay up to date with all the latest breaking tech stories on Sky News for iPad, our smartphone app, at skynews.com. I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye, and cheers.